Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me again. Today, we're turning the page on a story carved from pain and misunderstanding, and instead writing a story in the ink of faith, tenderness, and quiet triumph. We'll continue the journey of CEO James and Diep, a resilient young woman who once sank into the darkness of despair, and the man who, in the end, refused to let go. After a tearful and longing reunion, James and Diep are no longer on the brink of separation, but resting in the fragile peace that comes from sincere healing. The days of confusion and hurt are gone. What remains is a tapestry woven from small moments that are more powerful than eloquent declarations. Here, in the seemingly simple things, a glance, a turn of the head to talk, the comfort of silence together, is where love finds its voice again. Diep, who has endured nightmares and a racing heart, finally wakes up in a room filled with peace. The golden light of dawn shines through the thin curtains. The stillness of the early morning envelopes her like a promise fulfilled. But when she turns around, expecting James to lie beside her, she finds his pillow cold, the blanket folded, his warmth gone. Her breath caught. Old fears, ghosts of abandonment, flickered through her heart. But then, a scent. Steaming rice porridge, sautéed green onions, a hint of warm ginger. She rose gently, her feet bare against the wood, her cardigan sliding lightly against her skin. Before her, by the stove, was James. Quiet, devoted, stirring love into something humble and nourishing. He stood there, one hand holding the ladle tightly, the other gently tilting the pot, as if not just pouring porridge, but also apologizing. James' mother set the table nearby, her hands trembling with age, her smile gentle. No words or embarrassment intervened. Diep watched as his mother-in-law caught his eye and nodded, a simple, sincere acknowledgement. Look, how much he has changed. Long before dawn, James had been to the market. He bought ginger, herbs, rice, carefully selected for softness and fragrance. He was not a chef, but this morning he had turned the kitchen into a prayer chapel. Here, love was rekindled. Here, apologies were not found in words, but in the choice of ingredients and in the silent sharing. After a hearty breakfast, James returned to the balanced work of a CEO. Never-ending work, delayed decisions, sleepless nights because of leadership. But he left the house with a gentle request. Diep needed to laugh, to breathe. He turned to his mother. Would she take Diep outside for a moment? It was a modest gesture, but an act of extraordinary courage. It signaled that Diep's soul was no longer something to be overlooked. She deserved to be nurtured. His mother nodded, and so, for the first time in a long time, Diep felt like someone's daughter, loved not for what she had endured, but for who she was. They drove into town, just the two of them. James's mother sat in the passenger seat, wandering through rooms filled with dresses she never thought she'd be invited to wear, let alone choose. Pastel blues, cream lace, soft fabrics that shimmered in the daylight. They didn't say much at first. Just the rustle of fabric, the steady sound of footsteps in the fancy shops. Then stories emerged. James's childhood jokes, Diep's childhood dreams. And laughter, deep, sincere laughter, sounded clear, free of the weight of yesterday. When dusk fell, Diep returned not to emptiness, but to the warm light of home. James had left work early. Not to rest, but to return, to care, to cook. The table was set. Soup, greens, caramelized fish. The cooking began at dawn and ended at dusk in the kitchen he rarely entered. His mother watched, her eyes gentle with pride. Not because of the elaborate dinner, but because the once cold person was now present, distant now attentive. She sat deeply. She let the aroma, the warmth of home, the laughter spread throughout her body. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she belonged here. Dinner turned to confession. James said, deep down, I want more than today. I want forever. He talked about marriage. About returning to the farm. About the land that remembered her laughter, about the animals that remembered her voice, about the life she had quietly dreamed of. Her deep, sparkling eyes, not of sadness, but of hope, looked at him. The question in her silence was not agreement, but recognition, that yes, she trusted enough to believe in this love now. James's mother put down her bowl. Don't make me wait too long, she said, smiling. And laughter rang out, a soft, choked laugh, for what they had lost and for what they had. A future built not from grand promises, but from small, undeniable acts of love. Night fell. She fell into a deep sleep, no longer haunted, no longer alone. She slept soundly. Surrounded by warmth. By the table he prepared, by his mother-in-law's wordless forgiveness, by a man who had finally learned that love is not a growl but a whisper in the dawn markets, in the silences shared, in the meals cooked with love. Tonight, the storm has subsided. The memories of betrayal may still be there, but they no longer haunt her. Instead, she dreams of possibilities, of a life where distance will never again break a heartbeat. This story is not about fairy tales. It is about transformation. It is about how love, awakened not by fireworks but by gentle persistence, can mend what has been broken. Trust doesn't come all at once, but in every shared breakfast, in every gentle touch, in the decision to emerge even when the heart is broken.